Damn it.
And even when he's not in the call, you can fuck
I
him out.
know. I can't believe I'm doing it still.
Welcome back to another high energy introduction for this Warhammer 40K Imperium Maledictum Titanslair Season 2 Episode 3. We start in the grim darkness of the far future. There is only war. The words Warhammer 38K appear on the screen. And we see total darkness. And from out of that darkness comes a shadowed figure who resolves into a white-haired sister of battle wearing black-painted power armor. One shoulder is completely painted black, and the other has the sigil of the Ordo Kronos of the Inquisition. She is wearing a oversized gold rosette of the Inquisition. And as she stops just out of the ability to like fully see her shadowed face, she says, "Well, well, well. So here we are, once again. There are many secret councils that control the Imperium of Man. The Grey Knights, the High Lords of Terra, the Assassinatorum. Even more secret councils exist, but none are as secret or control the destiny of the Imperium as this one." She gestures out to the side, and we hear the sound of one of those, I think it's like a sodium lamp, like,
yeah, sodium bulb.
The camera turns and she says, "I've gathered the greatest warriors and strategic thinkers across time to aid me, including Painless Angron." And we see Angron, but just like a totally normal Angron who's like, "Hey guys, great to be here. Always happy to hang out with my brothers. Love saving the Imperium. Absolutely is what I was designed to do." Then she says, "Fulgrim, the Repentant!" And then the Phoenician is sitting in a chair, looking a little preening, definitely wearing like a luxurious purple suit. And he says, "Look, I know I don't always have the best reputation, but where I come from, sometimes you can be a little too perfect." He gestures again. "Mortarion, the Kneeling!" And it's Mortarion, but not like emanating necromancy Mortarion. It's just like a kind of pale dude sitting in a chair who's a little taller than normal. He looks just like, he has that same quality Velamris had, where he was like kind of bland and unassuming. And he just goes, "There's no price too great to pay for driving the shackles of slavery from humanity." And then she says, "And finally, coming from beyond the grave, Astropath Magnus the White." And it's like totally Gandalfing, huge giant Primarch dude. Doves are flying out of his sleeves of his white robes. He's holding a staff. He has astropathic sigilry and is definitely a member of, the Telepathica. And he says, "Communication is the lifeblood of the nation." But who could lead this storied council, which will help us avoid the problems of the 38th millennia? Indeed, only one warrior, only one Primarch, a master planner, coordinator, and commander of the Imperium, young Horus! And like a 14-year-old Horus Lupercal is like, "Yeah, great to be here. Sorry, my voice is still adjusting. I'm going through a period right now. I'm just really happy to help my real dad out. I love the Imperium. Yeah, gods are bad. Religion is bad too." And then the Inquisitor goes, "No, wait. What's happening? What is that?" And we hear the ticking of a clock. And then the sound of like clockwork gears. And then Painless Angron begins screaming. He's like, "Ah!" And then he disappears from his chair. The Inquisitor's like, "No, he's found us. The nascent god." And then Mortarion disappears. And as he's like fading away, you just hear this tick, tick. And Mortarion's going, "Well, guess death came for me anyway." More of them begin disappearing. And then it's just young Horus, just like, Okay, well, this isn't how I thought my day was gonna go when the nice Inquisitor lady... I mean, is that even a branch of the Imperium? I don't think that exists yet, as he slowly fades from existence, and all we hear is the sound of clockwork machines, and something moves in the dark shadows of our TV screen, as we cut to Holly, Velamris, and Rassie arriving at their new island vacation home. It looks like shit. The top of it definitely has functional anti-aircraft and air, like, surface to space, like, anti-ship weaponry. It's completely unpainted. It has the feeling of builders who put the framework of the house up and then hung tarps on the side so you can't see what's inside. And when you go inside, you could see that the Mechanicus has spray painted where the walls and joists and like electrical work and the duct and the plumbing will all be going in, but none of it is actually in there. It's just a giant empty warehouse right now with a banner that in Binaric says, "Welcome, Rogue Trader." Hanging from the ceiling.
Clearly this is our renovation series. We're going to do the house flipper thing now with this thing.
Don't worry, our budget is unlimited.
You can't hear anything right now because the whole island is like vibrating with energy, and you're aware that the barrier island's chemical processors are still on. They haven't been turned off yet because the weather satellites haven't arrived. So they still have to process the poisonous ocean so it doesn't kill the continent the Titans use for target practice. So it smells horrible and noxious here. It is barely human habitable without like a gas mask and protective equipment against the acidic nature of the ocean, like evaporating gases. You can't hear anything. Like, you can't even talk to each other because it's just humming so loudly. But
I did want to say earlier, and I didn't want to interrupt you too, Arthur, but when you were describing the sister of the Order Kronos and you said she had a giant gold, I thought you were going to say clock around her neck, you know, like
you mean like Flame of Flame?
That would have been hilarious if
no,
she did,
she's
though.
an Inquisitor from the 38th millennia. They just did it. They did Imperial Rosettes differently for a time in the 38th millennia, but then they erased the records of it because they're the Ordo Kronos, so they just deleted that time period. Yeah, they were meeting in a time chamber that was outside of time.
Okay.
I want to... What was that DC show where they gathered all the failed villains from all the other shows? Legends of Tomorrow?
Oh.
Yeah, DC Legends of Tomorrow.
I wanted to do that, but then just have, like, our big bad guy kill all of them. I don't know. I was driving and I was like, what if Angron didn't get the nails? Could I somehow turn that into a storyline in the show? And that's how this happened.
So now that we're here, I think I'll give like the universal sign of we should leave.
We have this great opening montage, and we go, and it cuts to us, and we're like, all right, looks good. What's next on the agenda? Back to the ship.
We're like the meme of the child walking the room, turn around, walking straight back out again. You know,
Yeah.
we're like how shit it is here.
You get back on your Valkyrie, which is fully capable of taking you anywhere you want to go in the system. On board, Gifonius and Luther are with you, as are your pilots.
So what else do we want to do? I mean, I guess now I have an objective to try and get those weather satellites here so that we can actually make some progress on this. But you know, this was built a lot faster than I expected. Well, it was mostly built a lot faster than I expected.
It was left in a state of not quite complete faster than you thought it would be.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but if you ever actually build a house, and I'm assuming it's the same in America as it is here, but if you actually build a house, the price they give you doesn't include stuff like, I don't know, faucets or door handles or concrete for your driveway or whatever. You know, like if you just
That's not surprising.
paid like whatever the advertised price was, you would have, you know, 4/5 of a house, and they always get you in the add-ons.
So it's really the add-ons driving the economy. Got it.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, at some point, like I imagine once we're back on the Valkyrie and things are, less loud, Velamris will be reminding about we had those. Obviously, we had the weather satellites that we need to get set up, but also looking into the lunar surface and getting an establishment there to possibly extract resources for the Rogue Trader. There was also looking at possibly getting into the trade arrangement between the other Forge world and here, the sulfuric acid, that maybe the Rogue Trader could take that on and turn a profit on that. And I feel like there was something else, but I don't remember exactly what it was. Something with food, something maybe.
I mean, we need to cleanse and get rid of the rocks that we towed with us.
Did we have a plan or an idea of how to accomplish that?
I mean, they need to be cleansed, and then we need to figure out how to evaluate what we might be able to do with them. Whether there's any mining value or if
Gotcha.
all they're useful for is target practice, like I'm not sure, but we also need to, they got dragged through the warp, so they need to be de-warped.
De-warpified?
Yeah.
I'd say de-warping is a term I use in my job quite a lot.
Somehow I'm not surprised.
It applies to fisheye cameras, making them look a way that your eyes would actually see something. It's called de-warping.
All right.
Anyway, shall we visit the moon then?
If we're
Because
gonna,
the moon is sort of like where most trade is done from off-world. Is that right? Because people like off-worlders don't tend to land on the surface.
They're not allowed to land on the surface.
Yeah.
And specifically, they're not allowed to park in orbit over top of the Titan testing field.
so
all right.
we wanted to try to see. We need to see what we're working with there to try to give the Rogue Trader a presence there.
So we have two things that we could do on the surface. One is his more public-facing business office and whatnot, as well as the mining of the lunar surface. The idea that Velamris had was that, I think initially the plan was something like, or the idea was that the moon would be used for those that wouldn't be able to make it to the surface, but then that got modified slightly, and we basically made the surface of the planet, that place would be like our sanctuary, whatever, for the Rogue Trader and whatnot, and then everything on the moon would be like the more public facing, I guess.
Yeah.
So we'll need to set up a keep, as it were. A new trade house, probably more accurate, similar to the one that we had at the Archipelago. Oh yeah, oh man, I was so close. I was so close to getting it right. But yeah, basically reestablishing a trade house there, and then digging up stuff for rocky, shiny bits or whatever that people dig in the dirt for. I wonder if we can. I wonder if we have elements of the Mechanicus that could help with the cleansing of these rocks, and what we might have to do in return for such services.
It's hard to know what position we'd be negotiating from when we don't really know what value we can try to assign to them.
Well, unfortunately, we can't determine the value of those rocks until we de-warpify them, as you say. They had to have had some value previously, perhaps a record of that somewhere. Again, the record's probably in the
Velamris?
warp-contaminated area.
Velamris, that sounds like a great idea. Why don't you tell us what records you can find about those rocks?
I think in a bit of sarcasm, he's literally going to look around the cabin of the Valkyrie and be like, they're over there in the warp-contaminated shit. In the trade house that we just dragged through the warp.
We could possibly make a foray into there to see if we can get those records.
So when you say that, Hefenovius goes, "What's the warp?"
I just look at him and I'm like, I'm not sure you're cleared to know that.
I'm just going to look at him and say a small mind is a tiny mind.
Yeah, that's really the only answer because I don't know if he's allowed to know that.
Sorry, are you quoting imperial cult truisms to me?
Yeah.
He just kind of nods and gives you a look of patience.
I'm trying to think if there was a omniscience verse or something that Velamris could throw at him that would be appropriate here, but I can't think of any.
Would you like to make a skill roll?
No, it's not that important.
Yes, you should do it.
It's not that terribly important.
But
I will look at...
we could try to make a foray in to see if we can get those records.
Okay.
I mean, we could certainly buzz it in the Valkyrie and see what the Auspex show. Try to decide how likely it is we might be able to get into the trading house.
I wonder what the Valkyrie augers, Auspex? No, augers. Augury array would have to offer on that. And how close we can get before we violate the quarantine. And then I'm going to look over it up to the driver, not the driver, the pilot, the flight team. I'm assuming we have some sort of comms with them, even back here.
I mean, if the door to the front opens up. You can definitely go up there and talk to the pilots.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm going to have them just... the trade house was on the CTA's Alpha? Or was it Delta?
Alpha was the Hulk.
Okay, that's right. And so it would have been on Delta then, right?
I can go look in my notes, but you know.
Yeah, it was Delta and Gamma were the two we spent the most time on. I don't remember which, but
yeah. I'm just gonna tell the pilots to, hey, on our way up to the moon, go over by the Light of Dawn and all the other ships, and let's get as close as we can without making anybody upset, and do a full auger read.
No can do, sir. The fleet is quarantined.
How close can we get to those rocks?
I'm under strict orders to not return back to the fleet. Not until
100,000 kilometers.
Yeah, I feel like get us as close as you can if it's within a light second. I mean, Velamris wouldn't know this, but...
Sir, the closest I can get won't allow them to spawn at the edge of the skybox. We're not going to be able to interact.
Well, increase your draw distance.
I'm sorry, sir.
We've only got a 2080 in here.
All right. Note to self: upgrade the visual graphics. All right. Well, I'm just gonna close the door. I think I might offer.
Do you still want to go to the moon, Alpha?
Yes, moon.
Yes.
Take us to the moon.
We'll be there in a few hours.
It shouldn't take that long, but okay.
Rassie's just like, I mean, yeah, that's pretty.
Shouldn't take that long to get to a moon.
From the planet?
It takes a fucking week to get to the moon from our planet.
I don't know why. I don't know why, but I was thinking the distance an artificial satellite might be. I have no idea why I was thinking that.
It's a real rock.
No, I know.
Why would you mine rocks,
I'm thinking...
turn them into an artificial moon, and then mine them again?
Listen, I was thinking astronomical distances, but not accounting for the Earth to the moon is a fucking light second away. So, sorry.
It's a real moon, and they are on their way to it. As you arrive in orbit of the moon, you can see that you are not the only craft that is here. There are numerous small ships that are like coming up and down that are also like, you're not the only ship transiting the trade lanes between the planet. And so what's happening is a lot of Adeptus Mechanicus flagged ships, or like private contractors, are going into orbit and then just dropping their cargo for the Mechanicus, and then the Mechanicus is sending like orbital lifters or space elevators or any tech like that to drag the cargo up and down. But a lot of people are basically just doing the job of a mass driver, of just dropping cargo off in orbit over top of the planet and then heading back and just looping like that over and over again. There is also a fleet that claims to be part of Night House Vandensar. And as you arrive in orbit of Alpha, you receive a message with compliments from Administrator Brelto Cogsworthy, indicating that your visit was pleasantly anticipated and a berth has been set aside for your private use for the duration of your stay. And that if you need anything, please arrive at my office as soon as possible. It also provides a private whatever you call a Vox line to the office of Brelto Cogsworthy's landing staff, so you can get priority landing clearance.
What is he? He's the administrator of...
Administrator Brelto Cogsworthy.
Sounds Adeptus Administratum. Velamris is trying not to let it show that it bothers him. But this is a necessary thing in this world, he imagines. I just look at the others like, do we want to meet with this guy?
I think...
Or perhaps we
we've
don't
got
have
nothing
much
else
in the way of
pressing.
choices.
We've got no other appointments here. We should probably introduce ourselves to the people in charge. Especially if we plan to be doing some training here and we want to establish some sort of base of operations here, we need to establish ourselves first.
Very well. Pilot, set us down in that berthing.
All right, we get a loading screen from Mass Effect 2. We get the shuttle landing thing that has the like strange legs that go like this. Is it called the Mako? That's the name of the
Mako is
hover
the tank.
Yeah, whatever the name of the shuttle is coming down.
I think it was actually a Valkyrie as well.
I don't think that's true. But we do cut to your Valkyrie like setting down very smoothly, a lot of little jets like as it pulls into a hangar berth inside of Dome City.
Was the shuttle in?
Yes.
I could tell from your body language that you're like, nope, I'm going to look that up.
As you're landing, I will take some sort of observation role or like administration, business, whatever the system has, so that you are observing the spaceport in its attached mercantile area to learn more about what you're seeing from above before you get out of the ship.
Awareness sight?
I'll take that. I'm gonna ask you to do it at a -30 though, because if you're just looking with your eyes, you're gonna get from far away.
Well, let me see. Ever Vigilant gives me +1 SL to test to detect hidden enemies.
I'll allow that. Yeah.
Because this is like we can see trade happening here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said -30?
Could I try to get an idea of how things are laid out and the flow of people and things? Could I roll haggle to look at like patterns of like human patterns?
So because I rolled 14 against a target of 13, I will spend a fate point to make it 1 SL.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
what's your inquisitorial eyes see?
First roll of the game, so of course I spent a fate.
Yeah. Holly, what you're seeing as you're settling down is that there is a very rich, probably like gray market trade, like things that aren't strictly super illegal. You're seeing a lot of noble houses from all across the sector and subsector, and maybe even beyond this sector, that have trader banners here for like a trading house. Not rogue trader style trading houses, just like a small place for several employees who live here, who have a warehouse and like a ship, that are picking stuff up and leaving. Like, there shouldn't be this many people on a mining moon for sure. You're definitely getting the vibes that like people come here to do arms deals and shit like that. Things that they need to acquire from the Adeptus Mechanicus, but maybe they can't openly show trade records indicating like, hey, I'm buying a bunch of guns so I can kill my neighbor. Probably I don't want it getting back to my neighbor.
The moon's called incognito mode.
Well, the dome city you're in is called Alpha Primus. So, Rassie, you are noticing like the things that are being traded here. Lots of minerals are being like shipped from across the moon to this location and then are being loaded into bulk haulers. You already know that those bulk haulers are like just basically the Imperium version of a rocket sled that gets into orbit, drops the minerals off, and then something else will pick them up and take it down. Like they're working on really cheap materials here on this low gravity moon. The top like trading services here, you're seeing a real paucity of like food rations. It definitely looks like food prices are very high, and like you see a transport coming down that has some sort of, you know, like common administratum like food markers on the side of it, and there's like a riot of people at the edge of the spaceport that are like shouting and pointing at it and are banging against the walls, and you can see like local PDF forces are like, all right, get out of here. They just start lazzing people left and right. Like 3 civilians go down like in a burning heap, and like people are running, and everyone's like, well, that was pretty normal of the PDF to start killing people. Like that's the initial first response to this situation.
So
That's
Somalia,
really
but
reasonable.
on the moon, from Black Hawk Down.
That, I guess that is technically the start of Black Hawk Down, was the warlords
UN was
capturing
bringing
the
food in,
UN
and-
food.
and-
Yes.
And what's his name was stealing it all.
I would not say that this is a Black Hawk Down situation.
Well, that's
Although
good,
you
because
have
we're
a
in the Black
Valkyrie,
Hawk
so you
thing.
could arrange for it to happen, I guess.
It was a perfectly reasonable response. What did I say this week? What's the difference between an Eldar, Farseer, and a Commissar?
Oh boy, I can't wait to hear this answer.
A
curious.
Farseer will sacrifice 1 million humans to save 1 Eldar. A Commissar will sacrifice 1 million humans to kill 1 Eldar.
Yes.
That sounds right.
I think that if you want to spend a extra success level, Rassie, I think there's more for me to tell you.
Do it.
As soon as you started talking, I was
You
like,
don't even
sold.
need to be egged on. You're just gonna do it.
I spent the fate. I'm easy to bait.
The other thing that perhaps would escape the notice of many is a consumer goods trade that's happening. Now, it may sound strange, but the local moon does appear to have some limited refining capabilities. And it seems like, just based on what you're looking here, things like making spoons, you know, silverware, or like dishware, or things like that, maybe the Mechanicus doesn't do that. And these local people are expected to like make their own consumer goods as a result. And so they have kind of unbranded consumer goods stalls here for basically inferior, like strictly low quality knockoffs of what would be more standard Imperium stuff that you would normally get through commissars if you were military, or through like the administratum. That system must not exist here because these people are eking out basic entertainment systems, televisions, streetlights. They appear to have like a light and to some measure like a heavy industry of their own to make products that you need to live, which is a little unusual. Normally the Mechanicus would, or the Administratum, would handle that. It seems to be a pretty brisk trade as well. Like, it's not just their products are being bought locally. It's also going off-world to some of those noble houses. And finally, something all of you notice is that there is a regular transit of shuttlecraft and other sort of resupplying heading towards the Van der Sarg fleet. that is in orbit geostationarily above Alpha Primus. Your shuttle touches down. Giefanovius is just like, do you... They normally speak low Gothic around here. If you still need me, I can continue to accompany you.
Is his status with us? He was a guide, effectively.
He was a... you paid for him, and then the Archmagos gave him to you as a loaner.
Okay, so he's part of the crew, but not permanently.
He's definitely not part of your crew.
Well, I meant like part of our crew.
Executed by our assassin follower later on, just for what he sees.
Probably.
Miss Stealthy
That's not a
Girl.
problem, though.
I mean, you started talking about the warp, so...
I'm going to send him and Luther on a fact-finding mission to see what
Are they
this
going
House
on a
Van...
congressionally funded junket?
No.
It's team building.
Yeah. I want them to go learn as much as they can about the things that House Van der Sart is doing here, as far as their trades and what they're looking for and what holes we can fill to make more money for the Rogue Trader. And we'll see what they do.
So I just need to write this down, so I'm sure you're sending Luther and Giefanovius.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Luther immediately says that I'm the senior member of this team, so you'll be answering to me. I'm in charge, Giefy.
I think Velamris is just like smirking. He's like, you know what? Roll with it. Let's see what kind of results these guys can produce.
And you want them to investigate what House Van den Sarg is doing on the planet. Well, Moon.
Well, not so much what they're doing, but what are they trading, and what can we do to get a better deal for them and make a profit for the Rogue Trader?
Okay.
Like, how can we step in and get get our share, but make it good for the Rogue Trader?
And just to be clear, like in the hierarchy, Giefanovius and Luther are like very, very close.
Yeah, I understand.
And then there's long distance, and then there's the servo skull above them.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's what Velamris tells them, and basically he's giving them the time to do that, however long it takes for us to go and meet with the administrator and figure out what we need to do to get a permanent presence here.
Sorry, hold on. Is team seniority on this team based on the amount of time you've spent in the team, rather than level of confidence
that's how
or
seniority
rank?
usually works.
No, I think it's more arbitrary than that.
Oh yeah, of course.
Perfect. Everyone knows arbitrariness is great. I believe in King Steve, the randomly biased. Okay, now Luther rolled a 51 on his investigation, which is not really that good.
No, I wasn't expecting miracles here.
Right. What
does
is
more
this
to
team
give them
wanna
something
do?
to do to get them out of our hair?
Yeah, so Stormcrow goes and arranges for refueling the Valkyrie, and then they're gonna just hang out here unless you want to give them shore leave.
Oh, these are Rassie's people, aren't they?
No, they belong to the team. Gideon, Stormcrow, and Fiota.
Oh, okay.
I mean, how, other than this meeting, are we expecting to spend an extended time sort of on an exploratory here?
Well, we're looking at being able to establish a permanent presence, both trade house and potentially mining facilities. We could be here for a day or two trying to track down all those things, but also it could be done if this administrator has as much reach as I believe he might. We might only have to do one stop and shouldn't take terribly long. I think just having them sitting here and doing maintenance on the Valkyrie, post-operational stuff, pre-operational stuff. You know, we don't need them taking things apart.
I mean, if we commit to a day, I mean, they might hear things while they're out and about.
Yeah, they'll certainly probably hear better than those two over. And I'll point in the general direction where the other two went off.
So yeah, we'll commit to 24 hours and give them 24 hours
All right.
leave.
Gideon and Fiona go out for
and
shore leave.
do no better than the interns.
They're going drinking and talking to other people at the bars to pick up rumors.
Amazing. Well, I tried to make the NPCs useful. I guess we need to give them actual skills.
I don't think that's
I mean,
up
they
to
need
us.
they need to roll better than a 50. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, they need.
Well, they
solid-
both rolled higher. I don't think that's how
Yeah,
that works.
higher is
Though.
bad. You want to roll
Yeah,
less.
I know. In the meantime, yeah, and we have secure comms back and forth. Do we have any transit, or are we hoofing it to the administrator?
They have golf carts here.
They do not.
It's not.
It's not big enough of a place that you would want to drive. It's like a several mile walking distance. Or it's a very walkable city, honestly. And as your team begins walking out of the spaceport, we get your Mos Eisley moment where it's not like this place is run down and cheap, but it is very industrial. And it's clear that you're being watched wherever you go. Like, you can hear people whispering in low and high Gothic, like, Rogue Trader or Inquisitor. And then someone's like, that's right, I see them passing now. You see, like, servitors that are just, like, camera voxes just watching you and, like, tracking your movements as you go through the city. And it's clear that there are also just spies who are being paid to watch other spies and report on what they're doing. In between...
This city has a bar just for the servo skulls who are watching other people to get together and like socialize after work.
In between all of this are just like mining workers who look like they're, you know, doing 16, 18-hour shifts or moving big piles of ore. People who are very rich, like low nobility and such, pushing their way through the crowds. Palanquins being carried. It's like a weird mix of like super low tech and fantasy high tech all in the same place. This moon is strange. As you're walking, you enter into the area in front of the administrator's office, and you can see that there is a space that has been set aside for a fountain, and at the space near the fountain, the swell of humanity that fills these streets has kind of parted around someone wearing form-fitting black armor. They have like a mess of cybernetics at the base of their skull, and they have a black mask on. Their left hand is carrying a like black painted longsword that's kind of moving a little bit. It's like maybe it's vibrating like a power sword to some extent, but it's very strange. And the masked stranger turns to observe your group as you walk up to Administrator Cogsworthy's offices.
I'm going to make the closest thing to eye contact as I can with this thing with the black mask.
Okay.
And I'm just going to watch him as we get closer. And then eventually I'm just going to be like, you seem to be quite different. Is this a posting of yours?
This person moves to fully stand in front of you and says nothing.
Are you capable of speaking? Apparently I'm not.
The head kind of turns somewhat.
Servitor? No. Responses are too fine. Curious.
Rassie just rolls his eyes and says, Velamris, you are not capable of walking between 2 points, are you?
No, no, I guess we should keep. Okay, I'm going to keep my eye on you.
As you
and
say
he
that,
walks away.
they gesture with their free hand towards you and then give you a very formal bow.
I will return the bow, not quite so deeply. So I'm not sure what the proper protocol is here.
Everything that you've just done is observed by dozens of people in the square.
Sure.
You make your way up a series of short steps to the office of Administrator Brelto Cogsworthy. I want you to imagine someone wearing like old, not dirty, but like worn and faded robes of a priest of Mars. Clearly not like last generations, last season's robes, really. You know what I mean? Right? Hand-me-downs, surely, but like older style. Definitely not approved. Person is not attempting to look like a priest of Mars. But in the place of having eyes, they just have one big red HAL 9000 cybernetic red eye. But they go, "Ah, my rogue trader friends! Welcome, welcome. I'm Administrator Brilto Cogsworthy." He walks over and is shaking all of your hands. He's pressing a small bottle of shampoo conditioner into each of your hands. "A gift for you, my friends. The air here can be particularly bad on your, the protein strands, just in case you still have them." He takes his hood back a little bit. You can see he's bald. "I got my, follicles removed, but for those that still have it, I find that our locally produced goods are, let me tell you, my family's been making this shampoo conditioner combination for over 800 years.
I think it keeps mentioning this, and Rassie's not even doing this consciously. This is just a subconscious. He lifts the top hat and just sort of like touches his hair with all the product in. He's like, okay, it's still...
I can see that you're a discerning customer. What can I do to help ease your transition? Surely the rogue trader is wanting to set up a trading office here on Alpha Primus. But as they say that, their like red cyber eye blinks very seriously.
That is one of the things on our agenda to discuss, yes.
Fantastic. I've already prepared all the relevant paperwork.
Of course he has.
I think we have an expert on paperwork.
Yeah, Velamris is like, I think he's probably not quite so sardonic about it. He's like, of course he has. And he reaches for it.
"Oh, please, gentlemen, ladies, sir, there's no need for us to get directly into paperwork so quickly. What is your business here? Let's chat."
All right, above board. I want to roll insight.
Yes.
Because no administrator would ever fucking lead off with, "Let's not dive into paperwork right away." And all my fucking administratum spider senses are fucking full tingle right now.
You just pull your gun and execute him on the spot. So
Exactly.
Just to be clear, this guy he's administrator of this place. He is not a member of the administratum.
Okay. All right. I might allow that.
So what you're saying is it's stolen valor than AP.
You can hold the rank of administrator of a location.
I mean,
I don't think the administrator would agree.
Well, you can be an Imperial commander without being in the military in Warhammer 40K.
I knew,
because that's the title
I
of
knew
governor.
an Imperial governor once that was in the military that would probably disagree.
That was not part of his qualifications for that temporary title. I mean, if it bothers Velamris to his core, like why would we not just get like this is? You could probably still roll your insight and just be like, this is so
roll
weird.
An intuition in this person.
I will. I probably won't get very far with it, but
so they are not a member of the administratum, to be clear. So no administratum fellowships will apply to this. They are an independent trader.
A fate point, so I'm going to use that for advantage.
Just blow it through these fate points in the first hour.
Never mind.
Okay, -2.
Okay, my goal is to make sure I end every session without any.
Do you still have a fate point and you want to re-roll that?
No, I think Velamris he's just got the tingles of
you have
this
the
doesn't
worst
feel
vibes
right.
from this guy. Like he literally snatches the paperwork out of your hand as you're reaching for it, and he goes, "Please, there's no need. This is a first date. There's no need to get into the nitty gritty here.
I think there's like reaching for weapons."
Whatever.
Not drawing them, but reaching for weapons, narrow gaze. This is so weird. And I'm going to look at the other two, and I'm going to hope that somewhere between the other two, there's some form of like, this might be normal, because this is abnormal AF for Administratum. And I don't think Velamris is picking up that this guy might not actually be Administratum. He just assumed he was.
He goes,
Rassie,
"Whoa, there's no need to get your hands on weapons here. I've heard that rogue traders take it fast and loose, but please, I don't want to have to call my local security forces."
So, Rassie, not
Doing
picking up
bonus.
on your uncertainness at all, would like to roll intuition, people, because for him, with his like being super friendly, not wanting to do the paperwork right away, Rassie's trying to decide how big of an ask does this guy want in order for us to be able to do this paperwork. He's trying to feel out like how
what's the barrier here?
yeah, we're trying to get a feel for what the other shoe is.
Okay, you rolled a 2. That's
So
pretty
much
good.
better than me.
With +4 successes. All right. This guy is no fool. All right. Everything that's happened so far to you in this office is part of a elaborate deception. Not to trick you into being killed or anything, but you're thinking based on like how he's stepping around Velamris immediately, like Holly said, we have an expert on paperwork here. This guy has to know that Velamris is administratum, and now he's like boring you, and he wants you to sit down. He's trying to disarm and delay, distract all of you, so that when you go to do that paperwork, maybe you don't look so closely at some of the very favorable to him terms. You know what I mean? Like he wants you. You know how they say in court cases, you don't want your trial to be directly before lunch because the judge gives the worst rulings right before because they're hungry. He wants you guys to be hungry, so you're in a rush to finish that paperwork.
So this is all a negotiation tactic.
He's gonna rope-a-dope you for the next few hours, dazzle you, but all the shit about shampoo conditioner sales and this and that and the next thing, everything that this guy's about to tell you is a timeshare presentation to lower your defenses until you sign. And hopefully you haven't looked too closely.
Wow. Oh, no, never mind. Velamris doesn't want any of that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So tell me,
So what we're really-
how much would you normally pay for a vacation in a year? Let's get your timeshare.
Joke's on you. I don't take vacations.
Oh, Omar, that hurts.
So what we're really looking for, I guess, is introductions to the different trading groups here so that we can start to find our feet and how the Darkwind dynasty can integrate with this trading hub and provide value and gain value from it.
Of course, my office handles that all the time. New houses rise and fall all across the subsector. You'd be surprised how many people I have coming in and out of my office. But please, let's sit down and have whatever the Warhammer 40K equivalent of coffee is.
Recap.
Calf.
I want to make sure you crash afterwards.
Velamris is going to like. God, I really want him to just reach for the papers, just to see if he can snake them away.
Go ahead.
Not a pickpocket.
Go ahead. I'm going to ask you to roll as we go to break so that we know, but the audience doesn't, the success or failure of this.
I love a good cliffhanger. What do you want me to roll?
What do you think you're doing to get these papers away from him?
I mean, it's like he's not trying to be super stealthy, sneaky, like literally pickpocketing, but like
I think athletics.
but looking like waiting for his like when it appears his full attention's on Holly, for instance, he's gonna reach over and try to grab the folder.
I think athletics. This doesn't sound like you're making a melee attack. So.
Well, what about reflexes?
No, I think athletics.
Because that's based on strength, whereas
Yeah,
agility.
I agree. It is based on
reflexes are-
strength. He's trying to snatch the papers away.
I will.
If
take
he was
another
being
pick point.
sneaky, reflexes might apply.
Yeah,
Sure.
speed
but-
points.
Okay.
Got
Don't
him!
say- oh, why would you say got him?
God damn it! I
That
forgot we
ruins
were
the
gonna.
whole
I forgot we
point of
threw.
ju-
I just wrote. I'm
well,
sorry.
we're
I'm
going
really
to break
cliffhanger.
now. We're going to break. We're not on the same page here, guys. We've fallen
I've
out.
had some bad rolls all day long, so.
All right. We'll be back in about 5 minutes, audience.
I'm telling you, I was just excited for finally getting a damn success because I haven't had many of those for all the dice I've rolled today.
You reach out as he's turning away and snatch the clipboard filled with paperwork from him, and he goes, "Oh my!" You've got it.
I apologize for him. He's a bit of an addict.
I start going through the papers, start looking through them.
Okay.
When you're ready, I don't want to do it right now and have the scenes, suddenly shift.
No, I think now's an appropriate time. I mean, you've almost done physical violence, and you've definitely been improprietous.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Data Delver gives me advantage right off the bat. Yeah.
I'll try and smooth things over by pointing out that our administrator only got a, what was it, 0. What was your rating? Sorry,
0.123.
0.124.
0.124. That's right. Yeah, but yeah, just to try and disarm. Yeah,
he's not going to know what that means, though.
Security.
Yeah, he's not going to understand
that was a
the
personal
law of baseball
scoring
averages.
system of administratum ordinate Barnum and Hoveler.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound great though.
It is based on baseball average statistics. It's a system. It's an older code, but it checks out.
Okay.
I'll spend a fate point to make that a success.
Is that your last one?
No, I have one more now.
Okay.
Hey, me too. I only have one left.
You push yourself over. You're speed reading through it. Hard to say what maybe, like, if there's any real hidden stuff in here that you'd need multiple successes to find out. But I think that the big ones are that it's going to take 10 years worth of profit factor tithing to repay the investment here. Like, basically just this guy skimming a little bit off the top. And there's also a provision that for the next 100 years, the rogue trader will be required to take the side of the administrator in any debates in the local noble council for court decisions and determinations. Basically, the arbiter for any decisions made locally will be decided by the administrator, who is also the administrator.
I will relay this information to my peers, pointing out the 100 years of taking Administrator Beltor, what's his name? Brelto? Cogsworthy.
No, I think it's appropriate you've forgotten already.
It's the Holly way.
But yeah, I'll pass that along, pointing that one in particular out, as well as the 10-year repayment.
Cogsworthy.
Yeah. You're trying to skim stuff off the top, too. I'm going to tell you right now,
not every noble house that operates here has the same level of understanding of mercantile affairs that your group does. This is just a test that I administer.
Do you really want to go up against a rogue trader in his trade house, his power, his wealth, and his legal representation? Do you really want to play that game?
I'm the administrator of this little moon, and he has no legal authority or recourse on it.
I disagree.
Well, hold on. Before you keep going, would it be worth something to you if we could help you tool this document to make your chicanery a little less obvious for future signees?
Go on.
Well, I mean, I see what you're trying to do, and I appreciate. We're business people. Yeah, we appreciate a good business person. We happen to have found this particular ruse, but that doesn't mean that others
of course have to make sure only the most worthy trading houses do business here. You know,
you're backpedaling. Stop.
The libertarian competitive market.
I'm just gonna like elbow Velamris.
As I'm getting elbowed, the one thing he's going to mention, and then he'll probably shut up for a few minutes and continue to review the document. This was only on a precursory review of your paperwork. Had I fine-toothed this, I'm sure I would have found more, wouldn't I? And then as I'm getting elbowed, I'll just lean back into like a chair and just continue reading a little bit more in depth, line by line.
Perhaps I could certainly sign some waivers to several parts of this contract. What would you suggest? Be updated on it.
Well, I think that what I propose is that we present you, not necessarily, I mean, we can take a bit of time, but we present you with two contracts. One is the one that, we'll sign with some obvious changes made. Another one is the changes made as well, but changes made to go with the letter of what you've described here, but with a little more subtlety as to how some things are described. Something that you can then use for future guests to ensure a profitable environment for the moon.
I didn't realize I was doing business with a administratum paperwork expert and a negotiator of some kind for the senior sisters. Very well, I agree tentatively to this exchange. Present your contracts at your own leisure. Can I still offer you some recaf?
Oh, we're here, aren't we?
Yeah, I'll certainly take some.
Velamris will take some recap as well. It just takes him a moment to respond because he's reading.
Well, once you get those contracts back to me, of course we can talk more business, but perhaps you have some social pleasantries or question about Alpha Primus that I can cover for you, as long as you're here in my office.
Well, what is it that you want in Alpha? What is it you want to achieve in Alpha Primus? What is the goal of your organization, this station? What does success look like for you?
He stands and goes to the window behind his desk, hands folded behind his back. Success to me looks like the continuation of my family's business. My great-grandfather, 8 generations back, 1,000 years ago, founded Alpha Primus with just a dream and a space shuttle. And together, with hard work and grit, he managed to set up a bar for miners. And from there, everything took off. For me, expanding the size of Alpha Primus and increasing the amount of tax dollars that flow into the local coffers for the improvement of the local environments is always what I'm looking for. You know what I always say? Efficiency, and taxation.
I mean, of course, there's 2 ways to improve taxation. One is to increase taxation. The other is to increase market.
Yes.
So, you know,
I'd
know. Like to help.
I don't like to increase taxes. It's a very unpopular move. I prefer to increase the number of players in the marketplace.
Yes, number of transactions. I think it sounds like we're on the same track then.
Of course. There's a lot of high-level technical terms that I'm sure someone like you wouldn't understand, like velocity of money, but... So just as a reminder, James is a real business CEO. And I'm not.
I think, you know, Holly just draws like an inclining line on the wall and points to it. You know, clearly that explains everything.
There's definitely a plaque on his wall that says efficiency, and taxation, but it's dated like 400 years ago. It seems to be the house motto. Words of Cogsworthy.
All right. So anything that we can do to help you improve efficiency or improve taxation would work for you and your family.
I'm very interested to know what sort of businesses the Rogue Trader is looking to put down locally.
So we're obviously a trading house, so our product can substantially change from day to day as the Rogue Trader goes out to explore the expanse. One day it might be human cargo, one day it might be technology, another it might be information. The important thing is we always have an opportunity and an avenue with which to move these goods. We have an end goal we're looking for right now. We have a starting point. We need to sort of work out how we progress from point A to point Z and what each step looks like in the process.
Well, I have to say, my understanding is that your Rogue Trader is one of the ones that goes beyond the edge of the, you know, beyond the edge of what is known, and then does bring some things back from beyond that edge.
Indeed.
I would say that local businesses have a sort of gray disposition towards that. Nothing I'd put on record with a group of people who are following a floating servo skull with a recording device around with, but
Well, wealth will always find access to the markets it desires.
Here comes Adam Smith's invisible hand. Holy shit. All right, economics 101. Well put, sister.
Yes, I'll be upfront. For now, because obviously our rogue trade's ability to ply the Expanse has been somewhat limited by the fact that his flagship now requires a new Gellerfield. So we are through machinations and dealings and looking to try and acquire a new Gellerfield. At this point in time, the major point of trade we have is a 5-year contract with the Infamongers of Persephone. And so we are looking to find a trading path that begins at one and ends at the other. That may be a long path. It may be a shorter path. We'll have to determine that as we speak to a few potential buyers.
I think that if you're offering such a contract on the open market around here, access to infomongers will be very popular among the local espionage.
So this seems to be the place that where information is valued.
Well, I would say information is valued most highly on Macaria, but yes, here too is quite good. I will say...
Macaria is where I came from.
He cracks his knuckles, and he goes, oh, well, that makes perfect sense. If you're looking to acquire a Gellerfield for a large enough ship, I happen to have an inn with the local Magoses down on the planet. I can surely arrange a meeting for a small fee, of course.
Okay, well, if you let us know what that fee is, hopefully we can meet it.
I think that a 2% finder's fee on the final cost of the Gellerfield is perfectly reasonable.
That assumes that the final trade we do is in Solars.
Indeed, but I'm sure we can get equivalent value.
1%.
Now, I mean, 2% of the cost of a, invaluable priceless...
is a huge amount, I know, yeah. So, 1%.
Talk them down?
1%? Okay, deal. I'll get the paperwork ready.
All right. We'll have our administrator review it.
So he kind of snaps and then blasts something in Binaric. Kind of rough. He's using a natural human tongue to speak Binaric. To somebody. And like a secretary comes in and he gives off the details and they immediately go back into their office, close the door behind them, and then you can hear very loudly like, shh. Almost like a dot matrix printer, but done by human hand sort of deal, as they are creating a contract out of the raw...
It's typed with an old school typewriter?
No, they're doing it with a quill on raw, pulpous, fibery paper.
Ooh, wow.
What did he say in Binaric?
Oh, yeah, so he was just like, well, I need a contract for, finder's fee, basic understanding, with the with the Magoses down on the planet for a Gellerfield, etc., etc. Just making sure that he locks you guys into, so that if he gives you the information, you don't just walk away. You know what I mean? He's getting you on paper legal responsibility.
Okay. I don't say anything. I don't indicate that I understand.
Okay. You give nothing away. Well, I can tell you our current marketplaces are hard-pressed for food services. You have to understand that with House Vandensog visiting, they have been having near-constant feasts to celebrate their eventual return down to the planet's surface.
When's that happening?
Well, I'm afraid I couldn't say one way or the other about that. Well, I might be wearing the robes, so to say. I am not, in fact, a member of the priesthood of Mars. The local Magoses may be good business partners, but I am an independent trader.
Velamris leans over to Sister Holly and mentions Pops sotto voce regarding the food situation.
This guy's pulling his fucking Italian out.
Yeah. I mean, my understanding is that like the Pops is on the asteroid, which is currently quarantined. Is that right? So we can't really get access to Pops or his stuff right now while it's under quarantine.
And I'm also trying to remember, and I can't remember clearly, but I think we're still in the Imperium, and I think there were limitations to him operating in the Imperium.
Now that you have vocalized that, I've had some terrible thoughts.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh no. Oh, we have a problem.
Do we need a dad huddle?
Hmm?
A dad huddle.
Do we need a dad huddle?
Yeah.
Step aside into the
Cogsworthy goes, I
code of
respect
NPC
a dad huddle. He stands and enters into an idle animation where he looks out from his office window out.
What's wrong, Rassie?
So, Papa Oinkers is on one of the asteroids. It can't exactly shut down that operation without permanently shutting it down. So how was it addressed before he evacuated? Or do we have a problem where they haven't been being put down?
I mean, I would assume that they're just overproducing soup.
I would also
Special stew.
I would also think perhaps that he would have a way to maintain a certain volume and not go over that volume in, as they say, lean times, such as right now where you can't move a lot of product.
But did he move all of his operation off the asteroid, or did he? Do you understand my concern?
Yes, I am definitely getting. I'm definitely getting the target-rich environment vibe from you, Rassie.
We should talk to Papa Oinkers and see just how he secured his operation.
Do we have comms with the Valkyrie?
Yeah.
And is there anybody on the Valkyrie? Because I know you mentioned 2 pilots gone off.
Yeah, there's nobody on the Valkyrie right now.
Okay, but I'm going to send.
We're not going to make this difficult. If you want to call up to the ships or somewhere, you can just go.
I was gonna have our Valkyrie crew
bounce the signal.
All right. Well, let's finish this meeting first, because even if there is some disaster going on, another 20 minutes of recap isn't going to change the situation.
What's
it going to do? Get worse? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just going to say, either you're wrong and there's no problem, or you're right and 25 more minutes won't make a difference.
I agree.
It was 20 minutes 3 seconds ago. So
25 minutes changes nothing tactically or operationally. But I just thought of it, and I thought I should share before I was no longer thinking about it.
Look, if something goes wrong, the rogue trader gets to go on an orc hunt, which he'll love, I'm sure. We're sort of creating opportunities where it's a win-win situation either way.
Well, yes, giving him something to do while he's in quarantine. I couldn't have thought of it better. What more do we need from this administrator?
To be polite.
I'm sorry, he just rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know what to say.
Then don't. I know this is probably the most important skill for you to master in your new role, but sometimes it's okay not to speak.
You're right. I'm just going to sit back down and then we go right back to that paperwork.
All right, we finished at that huddle. You can rejoin the room.
Oh, I see. I was just contemplating Gwen Stefani songs.
Oh yes, the great poet.
Gwen Stefani. They say she was of an age of the greatest poet of all, Eminem.
Oh, we have a.
What was the 40K first? That's right. The great philosopher Shakespeare.
Yeah.
we have a ban for Twitch.
Yeah, I covered it. I went out and tried to ban him already. Don't worry about that.
Because I still see the comment. I don't know if that matters.
Very well.
I don't know how any of that works, so I don't know if it makes a difference.
Oh, I know on mine, the way on my setup, there's a purge button, which by the way, I absolutely love that it's purge.
Okay.
Rassie also just like sits down, enjoys the drink, says nothing, takes his own advice. being polite and disarming is definitely something the sister does.
All right, I think we'll just, treat the rest of this thing socially. Unless he's going to try and bring more business in, I think we've got enough out of this meeting that we can just have a calf and part ways amicably, so we can go work on our contracts, and you can go make your panicked phone calls.
Okay. He seems very interested in having you guys do business, especially he's extremely interested in how you would improve his family's history of creating contracts that kind of scam locals. What do you want to do from here?
I don't mind
obviously wants to
people
call
getting
some.
scammed. I don't mind people getting scammed as long as I'm on the right side of the scam. That's fine.
Yes, of course.
I mean, we it's pretty obvious that we're being monitored and spied while we're wandering around the streets. We could go back to the Valkyrie and discuss our observations and see if we put together a plan for what we want to look at on the moon to see what opportunities we can cultivate.
Yeah, that's probably a better idea than trying to have any sort of important conversation in the open, since everybody and their brother is watching us for some reason.
They're watching each other. It's like
they're watching each other watch us. Yeah.
As you leave the administrator's office, you notice that the fountain is now filled with people standing around it, doing business. The mysterious black uniformed figure has disappeared. You have no problems making your way back, but definitely people have tagged all your group like immediately and instantly, either Rogue Trader team or Inquisition team, and are giving you a wide berth.
Is there a pool anywhere?
In a zero trust environment.
Is there a pool somewhere of which one we are? Like,
I love the idea that you go past a chalkboard where someone has betting odds like 3-2 on Inquisition team over Rogue Trader team.
And I want to go up. I want to go over there. I'm going to make a $2,000 bet.
Too, like actually Space Marines, but it's like 600 to 1 something.
I think I'm just going to go over there. I'm going to put 2,000 down. 2,000 Solaris or whatever they're called.
And the subject of the bet can't bet on the bet. We run an ominous gambling establishment here, sir. Take your money off of my barrel and get out of here. Go on, get.
Can't even appreciate a good joke. Jeez.
Oh, right.
Let's bet that we were inquisitorial agents.
All right, so Velamris, I need you to make a perception check at a -10 because you're being robbed while you're over there. Like two young kids go past you and one pushes the other into you and he goes, "Oh gee, sorry mister," as he pushes off of you.
Can I do awareness sight?
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
And you said what was the difficulty?
-10.
And then my ever vigilant gives me
1 success level.
Yeah, +1 success, because I never remember the damn thing.
Okay, you see this attempt coming before they're even speaking. The kid bounces into you, and you definitely see his grubby little kid hand going into your pants, reaching for anything of value in there.
When you say kid, is he literally a child?
Yeah, like 8 years old.
Okay, I'm just gonna boot him away from me.
Okay, you commit physical
I was getting
violence.
ready to draw my power sword, and then I realized it's just like this 8 or 10-year-old kid. I'm like, no, I'll just use my foot and push him away.
Okay, you push him away. Several of the locals begin breaking out laughing, like, "Good job, Bernalto." And like the kid's like, "I'll do better next time. They're not all as smart as that one." He goes, "Nah," and then he runs away from you.
I think there's a part of Velamris that actually is amused. He's just like, but it's more of like an annoyed amusement. It's like, all right, whatever.
Now, just to be clear, your success level is good enough that you're aware the second part of the scam is now in effect, as someone wearing mismatching PDF gear comes up to you and says, local administratum arbites here. If you'd like to file a report, I can go after the kid. Perhaps a expeditionary fee to expedite this particular process, sir.
We literally see Velamris. He's standing there. He just booted this kid away. People are laughing, and then Velamris just does one of these Adeptus. What?
Adeptus Arbiters. So this kid's like 14 or 15 years old. He's wearing like 3 different planets PDF's gear as he walks up to you.
That's Cadia. Get away from me.
Right away,
and I'm
sir.
feeling right now the same way I feel when I get the text alert that I have overdue toll.
Your Easy Pass or whatever.
Yeah.
Pay tolls, yeah. You can see that
that's not how this works at all.
They have taken moon rock dust and like ash and given themselves a mustache so they look older. All right, you successfully escaped my scam trap.
And then there's a third party.
You literally see the estimation of your group has risen by the locals, and immediately people begin putting so much money on you being a rogue trader group that the odds are rapidly flipping.
I'm telling you, we're inquisitorial agents, and I just walk away. I don't say shit.
You could see someone nearby. He's like, if they were inquisitors, they would have killed the kid, and then they would have arrested the fake PDF trooper. They're rogue traders for sure. Get your money on it.
Now we just need Stealthy Girl to make an appearance and arrest every one of them.
Yeah, sorry. She doesn't help you out on the local betting scene.
We've noticed that she doesn't help us out.
She literally rescued you.
I know.
You were in an Adeptus Mechanicus prison and she came to save you.
Maybe if you started leaving like chocolates out at night time for her to claim, she might become endeared towards you.
You know what? I actually think Velamris is going to have that idea. He's going to start doing that.
You put a chocolate on your pillow and leave milk and cookies in your room every time you leave.
I just leave bits of chocolate laying around, and I keep track of when they disappear. Last episode,
you literally had a conversation with her where you impressed her because you saw her chameleon cloak, and she was like, "Hey, here's some quick tips I can give you to help you out on your journey." Act like she's never helped you before, motherfucker. Just because she's there to kill you when you go past the line doesn't mean that she doesn't help you twice.
I think Velamris will start leaving little bits of chocolate or whatever around for her, and then keeps track of when they disappear.
I want to know where you're getting the chocolate from. Also, I want to know what level of gall you have that you think you could tame an inquisitorial interrogator with chocolate.
This is where you find out she's lactose intolerant.
Oh my god! On my planet, this is a death threat. You've really impressed me, Velamris. Okay. You make your way back to the landing pad that's been set aside for you. You can see that someone has erected a small flag of your trading house, but the trading house emblem's only been printed on one side of it. The other side is the transparent field. The white and gray checkered pattern.
It's a trading house. It should say this. Your logo here. Call this number.
You know what, James? That's what it does say.
Say somebody's working too much in Photoshop lately.
Right. Well, you don't have a trading house yet. You have a landing pad that also has a small warehouse attached to it, but you don't have a business license to operate locally yet. You have the paperwork with you for that, though.
Yeah. So I guess
are Luther 1 and 2 back or not?
Luther 1 and 2? You mean Luther and Giffanovius? Yeah, they come back, and they're both talking about how they place enormous amounts of money on the fact that your team is a rogue trader team, and that they're going to make such big bucks.
Just imagining in Holly's mind, it's just you and you two.
Thing 1 and thing 2.
Yeah.
I look at the two of them, and I think for a moment he's just stunned and he just looks away and moves into the Valkyrie. It doesn't say anything. He's just like, can one of you two explain how to gamble on yourself? Because I don't have it in me right now.
Oh, Luther went, you're not allowed to gamble on yourself? I just didn't tell them I was part of the Rogue Traders team.
Smart.
How to make money
See?
gambling on yourself.
That's smart.
Okay. Is that bad? Can you not do that?
No.
Did you not?
You just made yourself a winner.
Okay. That's what I wanted. And Gifanovia says, I'm not part of your team, so I
Hey,
felt fully
you have a
justified
loophole.
putting 5 Macarian Solars on it.
And then Velamris will radio to
As you're getting ready to
our
Vox,
ships are in quarantine.
Luther's in your ear, and he's just going, sorry, was I supposed to be telling people I was with a Rogue Trader?
No.
Go sit down. I'll get with you in a minute. I need to send this message.
He sits down directly next to you in the co-pilot's chair.
Oh my god, this kid.
He's just looking at you and he goes, I don't really know how to operate the Vox. You mind if I just watch you, sir? You're so skilled at things.
Shush. Sending a message.
Okay. Get on
And
the
then
horn.
I need to send this message to, and I forget which ships are where exactly, but one of the ships that's quarantined that can figure out whether or not we have an orc infestation and what they can do to do it. If there is, what can we do to assist if there is anything we can do?
I mean, we probably can't go into the quarantine, but
Right.
if there is a problem and they're going to deal with it, we could certainly do the legwork to make everyone look very heroic for doing it.
We cut to 6 weeks ago. Papa Oinkers is evacuating from the asteroid. And he just is like, all right, so we'll just remove all the air, seal the doors, nothing can get in or out, and surely they can't live without oxygen, right? And the rest of his family, extended family, are like, that's right, Papa. They leave. And then over the course of like a week, the whole place is just filled with orcs murdering each other until one of them finally knocks down the door in order to make scrap, to make choppas so that they can kill each other better. The door opens, everyone gets sucked out into the fucking warp. And now there's orcs all over the place. We cut to 48 hours ago, and Sisters of Battle, who are on the side of the Rogue Trader ship, the Darkwind, are like flamethrowering, just promethium charges all up and down it, trying to remove all the Nurgle rot from it and preparing repair crews. And then like they are attacked from above, like out of nowhere from the sun. Just hundreds of orcs are falling around them, and Rassie's Imperial Guard replacements are like fighting with swords and flamethrowers. Just absolutely insane combat where people are, yeah, it says
Don't
don't
orcs
open inside. We see the Rogue Trader is informed that there are orcs on the outside of his ship, and he just goes, very good. And he's staring forward, going through PTSD, remembering the battle of the corridor.
Shame, cocks the shotgun, you know.
All you can hear is buzzing in his ears.
Fades. He just leans back and fades into the black and white, and it's just like orcs charging through a tree line and napalm landing on them.
Well, it's him on the Space Hulk fighting orcs in a corridor, and they're literally pouring out of the walls on him and killing his whole team. Yeah, so
How long?
So that
have
phone
you
call's
had
going to
that?
be well received, is what I'm hearing.
a while.
I just thought of it and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. You know, Rassie would think of this. And Rassie's really stupid, so it makes sense it took him this long to
So,
think of this.
legitimately, if you want to smuggle Papa Oinker's orcs and Papa Oinkers off of the asteroid so that he has some seed orcs to operate on Alpha Primus, you have to do it before the sisters and your flame wardens kill all of the orcs. This is a time-sensitive mission. In Mass Effect 2 style, if you do 5 quests before you finish this, the quest will automatically fail.
I mean, we don't need full orcs. We just need stuff covered in orc spores.
Yes.
I don't think
But they
there's
are
no way for
using
Rassie to know
flamethrowers
that.
on every inch of every surface
Yeah.
on the ships that were affected by, well, on the Darkwind and the asteroids it was carrying behind it through the warp.
I had to
How
take my
would
headset
we-
off for a half a second there. What did I miss about the orc situation currently?
It's
what
bad.
we have to do?
It's real goddamn bad. Also,
And then we have to, if we want to keep Papa Oinkers going as an ongoing concern, we need
have
to smuggle some sea orcs off the asteroid
Quarantined
onto
asteroid.
the moon.
And this is a conversation or question that we need to
Oh,
answer.
this is just a flashback you're having while you're
Okay.
calling up. So who are you
Okay.
calling to learn about the situation?
Where was Papa Oinkers? Like, what was he in?
He is
before
on the
warp? And
Darkwind.
so yeah, we'd be radioing the Darkwind to see what the status is.
All right, well, the Darkwind's under communications blackout because they're worried that they could send viruses through the communication system. So there
we
is no
have-
answer.
I feel like we have some sort of internal, secure, safe communication.
The Rogue Trader specifically shut it down because he's worried about spreading Nurgle viruses through radio waves and such.
Do we have any psychers? Does
He has
Mercutio
psychers.
have access to a psyker to contact somebody inside the quarantine?
Do you
to
want to
find out?
use a telepathica on Alpha Primus?
No.
Oh,
I'm going to use
okay.
one of. So here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I am assuming, and I could be wrong, but I am assuming that each of our ships would have at least one Astra Telepathica or whatever the hell the title is. If not more, to boost their power. So we can use one of our telepaths on a clean ship to contact a quarantine ship to get a status. Now, we may have to jump through some hurdles to get there because, getting one of our people to do something like this from the moon. But have one of our telepaths on the clean ship contact one of the quarantine ships or the Darkwind main ship.
Or you could contact Papa Oinkers directly telepathically, but sure.
Well, Velamris probably wouldn't be thinking that far ahead or whatever, but Papa Oinkers might be dead.
Oh, yeah. Could happen.
Oinkers. Whatever that might be.
If my kid says that in the background, he's like, I don't even know who that is, but
Don't worry. We heard him say, not Oinkers.
but yeah, so that's what Velamris is trying to do right now, because this is a burning question that he wants answers for.
Okay. You call up one of the non-quarantine ships and ask to speak to a telepathica agent. He gets on the Vox and he goes, well, I'm not actually allowed to contact one of the quarantine ships, especially, using my telepathic abilities. I would be most vulnerable to attack through any sort of psychic infestation. It would definitely take some sort of great bestowal to my wallet to induce me to break the rules and risk my mind itself. I understand.
You don't have haggle, do you?
According to my records, your team
I want to
is
respond. I'm trying to
very
figure out if
wealthy.
Velamris would do it.
Just going through your HR file, it seems like you've got thousands of solars to work with and some.
Wait,
pretty
are
nice-
you extorting me?
Yes. Keep up.
You are extorting. Okay.
The way,
You know
the way you said that, all I heard in my head was "get good, scrub."
I work for
I
a
thought
rogue
don't we all
trader's
work
house,
for
and
the
so
same
do you.
person?
Yes.
Do we not work?
I agree. We do work for the same person.
So
I don't
why
work for you.
I'm not asking. I'm asking. Listen, there's a very real possibility of an orc infestation across the ships that are quarantined, and that's what the purpose of this call is. Can you help a brother out, as they say? Reach out to your telepathic friends over yonder and find out if there truly is an orc problem, and if so, what can we do to assist?
Nothing, because the ships are quarantined.
Okay. Well, the rogue
What
trader's not
part of
going to be.
quarantine is difficult for you to understand? As a walking dictionary capable of communicating directly to your brain, I can help fill in any gaps of knowledge you're missing.
Thank you, AP, for that, because that's exactly some of the things I've been going through my damn head about what this telepathic person can do.
Archipelago.
How dare you, sir?
I can help you with that. We just need to rewire a few things in there.
Corrective brain surgery. Gotcha.
Quarantine means no.
I don't suppose Rassie's been anywhere nearby for this conversation.
Nope.
I didn't think so.
Luther's sitting next to you, and he's just so interested by this conversation. He's watching you get absolutely destroyed.
I probably have to do something with Luther at this point because he's learning things he shouldn't know.
His eyes are shining as he's watching you.
Luther, go in the other room.
He stands up
Go.
and leaves.
No, just go.
He closed the door behind him to the pilot's area.
Okay.
Sorry, who's Luther?
No,
I like the idea that Rassie's in the back getting ready to talk to Sister Holly about the things that he saw, and just sees Luther walk in and close the door, and he just laughs, and in his mind he goes, "Oh, that's apparently going really well."
Okay. Is there any way that you can find out and report back to me that there is or is not an orc infestation inside the quarantine area on our ships and the asteroids?
I suppose I could have our sensors officer swing some augers around the area and maybe get a blown-up visual enhancement of the Darkwind and the asteroids to see if we can see any greenskin infestations. I'll get back to you in 4 hours, and I'm doing this as a favor to you.
I will compensate you for your time.
That's very wise.
Don't
of you.
use a lot of it.
Well, I'm going to use about 4 hours.
If you can do it in 2, I might be able to give you more.
He hangs up. He turns to someone next to him and he says, "Enhance."
I was waiting for that line.
They start doing it 1 pixel at a time.
Yep. At which point Velamris will come out of the flight deck and back into the cargo passenger area and just be like, that was nowhere near as fruitful as it should have been.
Well,
Mostly.
the thing is, we did buy
problems.
the intellectual property to Papa Oinker's stew, which means even if he dies and we run out of orcs, we can just get more orcs and start a new franchise.
Is that in our contract with him?
Yeah, we bought the IP. He maintains his operation, but we can franchise it out. So
we just need some
methodology.
spores and then some stew.
Sorry?
Oh wait, maybe Velamris doesn't know how orcs propagate.
Look, I mean, Papa Oinkers is diminished without Papa Oinker. Like I'd rather solve the problem, but
Sure.
This is not the end of the world.
No. Solving the food problem is the bigger piece, which if we just need some orcs and some stew, I think we can figure it out from there. I mean, I don't know much about orc and what parts of the orc are best to eat and which ones should be avoided. And frankly, the idea is sickening, but
I wish I had my primer on the bookshelf. I just would have read some random primer shit about the orcs. Lost opportunity. I should keep that in mind.
All right.
Well,
in that case,
I did notice a few things that might be opportunities for us, or at least they're things that we could try to turn into opportunities for us. Administrator Cogsworthy openly talked about the difficulty in keeping up with food rations with House Vandersark here. But I also noticed it seems that the local Mechanicus aren't producing anything that isn't strictly necessary. Basic living things that they probably don't use, utensils, plates, some furnitures, things that they would be using for entertainment, things that people want, but the Mechanicus don't need. So there might be some opportunity for us there as well. mean, some of these nobles that we've seen in the markets, or at least people that look like they might be nobles, are also here to purchase those kinds of goods.
What do you propose?
So what do you think? We sell luxuries.
Yeah, I mean, if we can find a way to source and provide luxuries, then that could be that. There's some, if we can find a way to exploit this is at least an opportunity.
I think that we're going to take our break in a second. We cut sideways to the Hand of Calixus. We cut through deck after deck, helicopter cam, going down deeper and deeper until we reach one horribly overused, like smoking, hasn't been replaced in hundreds of years, t-shirt printing machine that is currently printing out the I Love the Rogue Trader t-shirts over and over again. And like one like officer of trade who's just like, oh yeah, we're gonna do big business here. Get me more men's mediums. And you know what? Give me 500 men's larges.
Oh, hold on, wasn't Nero well muscled? He had the oh god, there's a talent for it. I can't think of it now. Bulging biceps or something like that. We need bigger shirts than that.
I mean, they're
How many
selling it
heroes
to
do you
minors.
think are going to
So,
be here?
yeah.
Yeah.
These are all going to be malnourished people who work all day until they die. Like, they're not going to look
Yeah.
like Nero.
Hey, Nero was jacked.
Well, that attitude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Starving people are not going to have the same
Listen,
t-shirt
I don't know if
needs
you've
that
seen that
Nero
video
has.
of bodybuilder versus guy who works for a living picking up, like 50-pound sacks of sand or whatever. But the guy who works for a living was absolutely wrecking the bodybuilder. So
And it did it in a smaller t-shirt size.
that's true. That is true. A men's medium, you might say.
Exactly.
Medium.
A medium.
All right, James, are you good for another hour?
I can be. Do you have more you want to try and do? Like,
I think if now's a good time to break, now is a good time to break. Then
Okay.
I will grant all of you 20 experience points through my largesse as a game master.
Okay.
I don't know why I keep coming back to this voice today.
Keep going back to 14-year-old Horace.
Young Horace.
Yeah. Sorry. Your earlier comment reminded me that I used to watch a car show online called Mighty Car Mods, and they were looking at ways to get more power into cars, and they were looking at the exhaust, and they decided to try same car, 3 different things. One was put on a sports exhaust. One was remove like the catalytic converter, muffler, and disco, like a straight through exhaust, and one was to stick a potato in the end of the exhaust pipe. And the potato got the most horsepower increase.
I don't even understand.
It pushes pressure back into the engine.
I mean, that's the only thing I'm coming up with, but I'm also not an automotive guy, so I don't know.
Where is all the exhaust going, though, is my question. Is that going into like the air filtration system?
Good, but it's not about the exhaust, it's about the horsepower.
No, but I'm worried about toxic exhaust going directly into my face while I'm driving.
So the answer was, it answers the most horsepower, but not for how long you'll have that horsepower.
Well, I feel like you'd have it for quite some time. It's whether or not you'd be the one driving it.
That's right. Your car will be more powerful the rest of your life.
Wait, is a car without is an older star car without a catalytic converter even legal to drive? Oh well, I guess it's in the United States. Yeah, I don't know about other countries.
Like where I'm,
there's cars you can drive on the road versus cars you can drive on the track as well.
Where I'm at right now, there are no state regulations or inspections on cars. You could drive around without a hood, no doors, and like missing a wheel, and there's no inspection.
Well, I live in the great state of Delaware, where you have to go to a DMV facility, drive in, and a tech takes 20 to 30 minutes to inspect your shit. And he plugs stuff into your computer system as well. And I feel real safe driving around here. Kind of. I mean, we get New Jersey drivers, so, it's not that safe, but it's safer.
I have seen a few cars on the road where I wasn't concerned because of the driver. I was concerned about what might fall off of the car.
Do you each have to have? Do you have to have front license plates in each of your states or not?
No,
Mine,
it
you do.
depends on the state.
Yeah, it depends on the state.
But
Yeah, but I'm
it
saying
is
it's in each of your
definitely-
states. I mean,
For me,
I do
yeah.
not. I do
Delaware
not need a
doesn't.
front plate.
But I believe
the
New
only one.
Jersey does.
Which is fortunate because I don't have anywhere to put a front plate on my Jeep. So
Just put
Well,
it
depending
up
on which
on the
state you're in,
dash,
there's-
you know? Duct tape it up there.
Yeah,
it's
depending
like-
on what state you're in, you may not have to. Depending as far as like,
I just
because usually there's a
zip tie it
stipulation
to
about
the-
whether or not you can. If you can, you must.
I'll just zip tie it to the hook on the winch and just let it dangle off the front wall.
Zip tie
works too.
right there. There we go. That's that redneck engineering I'm used to.
Hey, if you have enough zip ties, you can put basically any part of the body of a car on for a while, at least.
You gotta fill your truck bed with bungee cords. Those bad boys will hold anything.
Oh no. I've seen so many bungee cord
Yeah.
disasters. Oh.
Or the ratcheting straps, and then you in order to bless it, you have to slap it. It says, "That's not going anywhere."
It's not going anywhere. 6 miles later, it's going through the back window. But
Somebody's gonna get Final Destination for sure.
Do you like the 4 or 5 of them going over the top of like the whole dress that's
Oh
precariously
my
leading out
god,
of the
we're
back
talking
of
about
the truck?
bungee cords, right? Just to be clear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I lived in West Virginia. I've seen some shit, man.
oh, I'm sure.
You have guys going up like 45-degree angle hills with shit tied down with bungee cords, and I'm just like, I'm going to the other fucking lane, man. You're going
Might
uphill
say
at 80
there.
miles an hour. You're practically a space shuttle at this point. There's no way that's gonna stay on your fucking car.
People like to pretend that their local hill people are the only real hill people, but I have discovered in my travels that all hill people are hill people.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you are, they'll do the same dumb shit.
You've discovered the Florida man epidemic.
they're not limited to just Florida.
Well, I
Florida
must
just
ask,
talks about they just talk about their Florida men.
are we good for next week?
I am.
Let me check.
yeah.
I think I'm good. I am good.
All right.
I'm on spring break, so I've got nothing to complicate next week.
Fantastic. Plenty of time to play Star Citizen. In fact, if you have a whole week, you might get one thing done in Star Citizen in the current build.
I've actually I played yesterday and today. I haven't crashed. The first time loading in was incredibly long, but the load-ins after that have been reasonable.
I'll never
Reasonable
forgive
for
being
Star
in
Citizen.
warp and then not being in my ship anymore.
That's
That
real
was
bad.
pretty much the end of this series of patches for me. Hanging in space, slowly dying was not an attractive option.
Yeah, I've done
Did I tell you that
bunch of contracts?
the button broke off the power button broke off my home computer?
Ooh.
No.
So
Nope.
I can't turn it on right now. About a week ago, I opened up the side of it and used a screwdriver to short the pins to start it up, and I've been putting it to sleep every time since. But this morning, I actually shut it down again. So
Get a screwdriver again.
I have a new case to put it into. I've been resisting because I don't want to move all the cooling stuff across. But someone did point out to me I could just wire the reset switch to the power switch button, to the terminals on the board.
Yeah. Speaking of starting things with a screwdriver, there's a Hill People story I've seen,
I just
and it's not even in the ignition, but right, it's like that whole thing is totally fucked. So they just they lean underneath the engine and just reach up with the screwdriver and start it there.
Yeah, just to be clear to the kids at home, James is doing the equivalent of Nick Cage in Gone in 60 Seconds, just pulling wires out and just doing that, but with a screwdriver for his computer. My heart
Hey,
rate spiked when he started talking about it.
I used to work with a guy who once dropped a spanner onto like a 6 kVA industrial power station, and it vaporized the spanner. And I pointed out to him he probably inhaled half that spanner as well a moment later.
Yeah.
There must have been some really fucking high current running through that thing.
That must have been wild. Man, things
Right.
that I think would be really cool to see, but at the same time, I want nothing to do with being there to see it.
Yeah, the wrench evaporating because of electrical currents. Yeah, no
Yeah.
thanks.
Just
That'd be cool to
the
watch
good
from
old-
a safe distance.
The good old light emitting resistor.
You mean a toaster? You're describing a toaster. An induction
Or a bar
stove.
heater.
Ah, yes, yeah. All right, I'm calling this to a close. I'm going to the ending screen now.
Bye.
After these messages, we will be back.